proxy war with Russia. We had 5 million people cross our border illegally since Joe Biden took office. And let's compare that to how many Russians have invaded Ukraine. 82,000 Russians have invaded Ukraine. I think the American people and the taxpayers of this country deserve to know why the Biden administration and this Congress is so interested in funding the protection of Ukraine's border and not the protection of our border. That's a very good question.
Well, to be fair, it's phrased as a question. You're not actually interested in diving into that. You're not curious about literally any of this. That's an absolutely absurd, insulting comparison to make, because while you can use the word invade, while you can pitch migrants crossing over the border to get rid of or to get away from political instability, domestic violence, bad economies, some of the natural consequences of us meddling with countries in our hemisphere over the past few decades, you can say that's an invasion. That doesn't literally make it an invasion, okay? Like, she is not actually interested in that. She knows that she needs to turn people against the support of Ukraine. And so what do? I mean, they're never gonna actually make the case that Russia should conquer Ukraine, because that's insane. That's what they're fine with, but they can't make that case. So instead it has to be, well, Russia didn't send nearly as many soldiers as migrants from Guatemala came, so I guess we should address that instead. The one has nothing to do with the other. Brett, what do you think?
America spends $8 billion on ICE every year. That's just part of it. State budgets also buttress that. That's BS. But like, the people who invade America are armed with like shoes and the clothes on their back. Yep. The people who are invading Ukraine, no quotes needed, are armed with guns and missiles and tanks. What a weirdo. Like, I hate to bring you, like, words have meaning, but invasion needs to have a meaning, guys. If you're gonna police us with what does a woman mean, I need you to say what invasion means, because the people who are coming here through the southern border actually contribute to the economy and commit crimes at a clip lower than that of people who are citizens. And there's a whole other, they pay taxes. No one invading Ukraine has anything remotely close to that. She is so stupid. That's when you have people like, you think that's a good point. Oh my God, you're the dumbest person I have ever heard.
She actually thinks that that's a good point, or at least she knows that it will work for right wingers. They will find that distraction to be very convincing, because they're never gonna think of these migrants as people who just want to have a better life, and in living that better life contribute to America as migrants do. Instead, think of the Russians or whatever. Now, in general, I don't know that there are many mass graves caused by people fleeing political instability in the southern hemisphere, but yeah, I guess you can make that argument. And again, this isn't just stupidity on display. Why do you train people to think about immigration with the terminology of war, so that people will think rationally and calmly about the topic in the future? No.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.